Hi, everyone. We're going to take just a second to let people log in. Nice to see everyone. I'll get the chat going here in a minute, too. Great. Okay, I'm going to launch this. Hello, I'm Stacy Delo. I'm the CEO of Après, also the co-author of Your Turn, and we're so excited to have you back here. Our regular Tuesdays at 1 o'clock have become a great opportunity to connect and talk about what's happening for everyone on a career search perspective or career change. So thank you to everyone who's been participating in these and for coming to the site. We had several new jobs that posted to the site this week, so I hope you'll check those out. Always good news, given everything else that's going on when we see jobs that are coming in and that companies, and actually these are some government jobs, are still hiring. So please check them out on the Après website when you get a second. You can also check out all of our previously recorded workshops there. We have some really great ones with Tina and Megan, especially on resume review and LinkedIn profile polishing, and some interview skills. So check those out. And I'm really going to turn it over to Tina and Megan. They're going to walk us through their best job search tips. And I'm really excited because Tina and Megan have been in this space helping women in particular return to the workforce after career breaks for years. And they work with us on our business development team, but also are experts in this area, and have a resume review that you can sign up for with them. They do a little bit of coaching on the side. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Megan Strickland and Tina Mondragon from the Après team, and we'll save our Q&A for the end. So I'll launch the Q&A box, and you can just type your questions in there if that's okay with you. And we'll go from there. Okay.
Great. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're so glad that you could make it here today. And we're going to talk about some great job search tips that you can do during this time. There are many job sites that you can use to find job openings online, but the best job search engines are ones that have search tools that are quick and easy to use. So we're going to talk about some of those today. So where should you look to find jobs? HR professionals and recruiters are becoming more strategic about where they post jobs to attract the best candidates. So today we're going to be touching on the top 3 most widely used platforms for broad nationwide job searches. And these are Indeed, Glassdoor, and LinkedIn. And also, if you're looking to find flexible full-time and return to work opportunities curated for companies that respect career breaks or allow for flexibility, make sure to check out Après. We have new jobs all the time that are posted to our job board. So in addition to Indeed, Glassdoor, and LinkedIn, make sure you're always watching out for the Après website.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We can.
Okay, sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties.
You may need to turn the volume down on your phone if it's on, because I think you're hearing yourself twice there. Uh-oh, now you muted yourself.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes. Great.
Okay.
Zoom technicalities here.
Wi-Fi issues is my problem today. Okay, so Indeed, this is the #1 job site in the world. They have 250 million unique visits per month. You have free access to job search. You can post resumes, research companies. It is very straightforward to use. It's incredibly intuitive, and they really try to tailor it to you. So all you do is set up an account, tailor your job search. You can search by salary, industry, job title, experience level, and more. And then you can very easily set up alerts to your phone, to your email, and you will be alerted every time a job in those categories is posted. So it's straightforward. Definitely get on there. And Tina's going to tell you more about Indeed.
Great. So Indeed, if you go online right now, you can see that they have companies that have jobs available right now during COVID-19. So some companies that are hiring, they have highlighted these on their sites. You could click on that and find some great work from home, remote jobs, jobs in your area, jobs that are immediately hiring. There's part-time, contract, full-time. They have entry level. So if you have, if you're looking, or maybe you might have a college student that's home and looking for a job over the summer, they have entry level all the way up to senior positions on LinkedIn. They also can provide tracking on whether a company is used. Sorry?
On Indeed. You said LinkedIn, not Indeed.
Sorry, on Indeed, yes. And then on Indeed. So they provide tracking on whether or not a company has viewed your resume or application. So what's really convenient about Indeed is if you set up an account and you submit your resume and then you apply to a job through Indeed, Indeed will keep track of whether that company has contacted you back or not. And they'll also reach out to you in a week or two to say, have you heard, they'll send you a reminder. Have you heard back from that company? If you haven't, here's some suggestions or some ways to ping the recruiter or hiring manager to find out what's happening with your resume. So they follow up with you. They keep you on track. Once your profile is set up, hiring managers will reach out and encourage you to apply.
Okay, the best way to get results on Indeed. So create your free account and upload your resume, which allows you to save jobs to apply for later. Or if you're ready to apply right away, you can just apply right away. And you will get a personalized resume link to share with your employers. You can browse positions by location in the search bar. And actually right now, if you put in your location, everything Tina just told you, like COVID-19 jobs, work from home jobs, all of that will show up. Based on your location. And then you can filter your results based on your job requirements. So if you only want to work from home or you only want to do part-time, you can input all of that information. Set up job alerts. It provides tons of information on companies that you want to research and learn more about. You can also explore salary range by company and job title. So if there's a salary that you need to hit, like if you need a certain salary, you can input that information and it will it will filter jobs for you based on that salary requirement. And then they also source upskilling opportunities. So if you find a job that you really like, but it requires a certain certification, or if it requires coding from a certain school, all that information will pop up. It's kind of a one-stop shop. So you can access all of that from Indeed.
Okay, so another great site to check out for jobs is Glassdoor. Glassdoor provides almost 70 million people with job listing and information every month. They have over 11 million job listings. So they're a great resource to check out. They have over 45 million reviews. And the most unique thing about Glassdoor that we tell everybody applying to a job is they've got this great insider information to potential employees. So we tell everybody who's applying to a job, go onto Glassdoor and check out the salary before you go in for the interview, so you can feel confident knowing the salary range of what is appropriate for that position. So it has really revolutionized the job hunt, creating more transparency in the workplace, both in the US and abroad. They are an industry leader on salary information by company and job type.
Yeah, the other thing that's amazing about Glassdoor is so it gives you once you upload your profile, it gives you a certain number of days where you can be on there for free before you have to submit a review of a company you worked for. So the employees from all different companies provide real insider, like Tina said, insider information. So one of the cool features is a know your worth feature. And it's a tool that Glassdoor has built so that job seekers can know exactly what to expect for each salary. So the number of years of experience, the location of this particular job title, all of that information is customized for you. And then it will filter jobs based on that certain salary range. So you can tell right away if this is going to be a job that works for you or not. It also provides benefits. So employees provide information on benefits. A lot of times if you go to a company website, you can search like what kind of medical benefits do they offer? What kind of vacation time do they offer? What kind of parental leave do they offer? But if it says on the website that they offer 20 paid days of vacation each year, and then an employee can write, yes, you are entitled to this vacation. However, no one takes it and you're strongly discouraged from using vacation. Those are types of things you would want to know that you can't find from the company website, but you will be able to find using Glassdoor. They also talk about different growth opportunities that the company will provide. And each of these are factors we strongly suggest that you really spend time getting to know before you apply for a job to make sure it's the right job for you.
Okay, another great feature that Glassdoor offers is the interview review feature. This is huge. Anytime before you go for an interview, make sure to check out Glassdoor, research the company, because this can give you a huge advantage with behind the scenes insight into the interviewing process. Actual employees from the companies will share their personal experiences. So I was working with somebody on their resume and she had an interview at Facebook, and we were able to go onto Glassdoor, look in her specific department, and she was able to come up with 20 questions that interviewers had asked people previously in that role. So it was huge. She was able to be prepared. People also put down what they've answered to those questions, what worked, what didn't work. So you can find out how the candidate got to the interview process. They'll do a rating of how difficult the interview was. They'll even tell you how many interviewers met with them in the room and what was their outcome. She was able to find out that in some of the interviews at Facebook, there might be 2 people in the room. There was the actual interviewer, and then there was somebody sitting in the back of the room that was learning from that experience. So it was just nice to know that information before going into the interview. And then you can find out interview questions that have been asked of candidates and their answers to them as well. So what worked and what didn't work. And with this information, you will be able to walk into any interview confident and prepared. You'll know these questions ahead of the game.
Okay, now we're going to talk about LinkedIn. So as everyone knows, LinkedIn is a very strong social media platform for job seekers. And we are going to specifically talk about how you can search for jobs and apply for jobs using LinkedIn. So it has been said that if you're not on LinkedIn, you do not exist from a professional point of view. And we believe that this is really true. It's a very strong platform to apply for jobs. They have over 575 million users, with more than 260 million monthly active users. They have over 20 million active jobs on there at any time. And the most important part about LinkedIn is that you can apply for a job or search for a job and also have immediate access to your network. Because research says that 85 to 90% of all jobs come from someone's network. So this is critical, and LinkedIn provides this all in one stop.
So some LinkedIn job search tips. So once you have your LinkedIn account set up, your profile, your summary, everything's ready to go, then you want to start to build a targeted LinkedIn network. So let's say you want to get a job in finance or in some type of financial company. Then you want to start to follow those companies. You want to connect with those industry peers. You want to connect with all of your friends in that industry. Start to connect with the decision makers and influencers at those companies. You can follow them. You can see what articles they're posting, find out news, trends. What is the company doing during the coronavirus? What is their mission? What is a day like in the company? You'll really get to know the culture and a lot more about the company. You can engage with connections on LinkedIn. You can get a referral from somebody who's working at the company. And also what's great about LinkedIn is when you go in, you can click on your profile that recruiters can be searching for you. So you can turn it on that you're actively looking for a job. Nobody else has to know when they're looking at your profile, but recruiters will know that you're actively looking for a job. So make sure you fill out every part of the career interest section on your profile to let recruiters know that you're looking. So it's a great way to put yourself out there and have recruiters come to you.
Okay, if you can't find a mutual connection with your potential employer, you can use LinkedIn to reach out to them through a common group. So there are different groups you can join on LinkedIn. There are university groups where you went to college. There are like job specific groups that you can join. And once you're a part of those groups, you can see other people. So you can make new connections, and then you can also reach out to potential employers through those groups. You can turn on job alerts to be notified of new positions as soon as they're posted. Targeting specific positions. If you're currently unemployed, you can create a current position anyway so that you show up in search results. We strongly recommend this, even if it's a volunteer position or something that you're not getting paid for. You can follow the pages of specific companies that interest you to be the first to see their hiring announcements. This is also important because recruiters will sometimes check to see if you are following their company. So if you apply for a job, it's important to be following those companies on LinkedIn because recruiters sometimes will check. You can also emphasize your skills on LinkedIn rather than your job titles, which is different than your resume. And you can search on LinkedIn for who has the job that you want, so that you can review their profiles and maybe make sure that your skills align with what they have, and that you identify the similarities and differences. And job titles can be different at each company. So this is a great platform to search for different job titles at different companies.
Right. So how to target a specific company on LinkedIn. So if you wanted to follow, let's say it was Facebook, the company page, if you go onto your LinkedIn and you hit the company Facebook.
Tina?
Yes, Megan, can you? So the company page will show, if you went to Facebook, the company page will show you information about it'll show you articles, it'll show you stats about the company, it'll show you who works there, it'll show you lots of key information. It will also show you any connections that you might have at the company and open jobs. And another thing is, like, if you were wanting to work at Facebook, you could open it up. It will show you, if you've put your college on your profile on LinkedIn, it will show you other people from your college that work at Facebook. So maybe you didn't go the same year, maybe you don't personally know them, but you could reach out to them and you can say, hey, we both went to the same university or college. I want to work at this company. Could we set up a time to chat about an informational interview, or can you set me up with a recruiter? The companies you follow on LinkedIn is an important piece of information that recruiters pay attention to. So recruiters will know who you're following. So if you're going to apply for a job at a company, make sure you're following them and others in the same industry. It will also give you insight into a company, what they value, if it seems like a place that you'd like to spend your days with people who you'd like to work with and learn from. And then make sure to check out your connections that work at the company. This is the most effective way to be introduced to the company recruiter or a hiring manager. Are you on, Megan?
Yeah, it's Stacy. I'm think Megan, maybe turn your video off and unmute yourself on your computer, and I think that will help with your audio. And if not,
so I'll go ahead with this slide. So this is, we're showing you here on this slide, Slack. This is the company that we looked at. And it's showing you Slack has 192 job openings. Find the one for you. So you could put in customer success or marketing, and then you can search and it can show you out of those 192 job openings, how many are specific to what you're looking for. So targeting a specific job title. If you want to work as a customer success manager or in customer success, you enter that into the search button on LinkedIn. It's next to where you can apply filters then for a location. So you want to work in customer success, you want to work in the Bay Area. You can make it more specific and targeted on your LinkedIn. How do your skills compare to the job description? Is this the job you want? So what's great is you can go in and read the job description. You can find out, do you need to develop some new skills before you apply? Is there a certification required or another form of upskilling? And what's great, as we mentioned on Glassdoor, they have lots of resources for certificates, for upskilling classes. So if there's something that you needed before you applied, you could make sure you go and take that class or get that certificate before applying to that role. And if you do have the required skills and you haven't included them on your LinkedIn profile or your resume, this is the time to update your profile to include them so recruiters have an easier time finding you. And then if you scroll down to the bottom of this page, you can choose to add your address and it will show you what your commute would look like to work, how far it would be away. I know we're all working remotely these days, but in the future, when we're going to start commuting, you can see how long that would look.
Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm going to try without video and see if that works.
Okay.
Okay, so find and target the recruiter. And Tina, just interrupt, just start talking if I get unsteady again.
Okay.
So do your research to determine who the recruiter or hiring manager for the job is. Sometimes when you apply for the job or when you're searching for a job on LinkedIn, it will say like Melody is the recruiter and it will show their profile and you can send a message directly to them. If that is not the case, then what you can do is ask a connection that you may have at that company, or you can contact the person who is your best guest. So what you would do in that scenario is you would type in hiring manager or recruiter at X company that you're trying to apply for, and then names will come up and you can send them a direct message. And this is a really important tool. A recruiter that we have worked with recently told us that she wasn't even the recruiter on this specific job, but she was a recruiter at the company. And she passed someone to the next round because this person was one of 300 applicants and she was the only person who sent her a personalized LinkedIn message explaining her value and why she wanted to work at that company. So just that simple message to a recruiter or hiring manager at that company got this person to the next round. So we strongly recommend doing this.
So some general job search tips. So take your first step, simply start. This is a great time to start looking. Right now during the stay-at-home time, it's a great time to get on LinkedIn if you're not already on LinkedIn and start researching companies. Look at the different jobs out there, look at what they're requiring, if you need to get a certificate or an upskilling. This is a great time to do that. So what seems like a million items on your job search to-do list, it can be tough to force yourself to sit down at your computer and start to get to work. Tweak your resume, proofread, ensure the keywords are aligned with the description, run it by your friends. If you've got a friend who is a hiring manager or somebody who's currently working in that industry or field, send them your resume, see what they think. Reconnect with your references. Let people know that you're looking for a job. Make sure that they're ready to vouch for you. Practice your interview skills. Like we mentioned before, Glassdoor has lots of resources for practice interview questions. You can Google interview questions as well, and you can review the common interview questions, come up with answers for them. Network, go on LinkedIn every day. You know, have a goal to maybe spend 10, 15 minutes on LinkedIn to follow new companies. Set a goal of 5 new connections a day or a week. Reach out to people. We've heard from many hiring managers that applying on Tuesday is actually the best day to submit your resume. And the same research shows that February, March, May, and June are the best months for a successful job search. And then follow the 72-hour schedule. When possible, prepare on Monday, apply on Tuesday, and then follow up on Wednesday.
Okay, some other helpful job information. There's an app called Workflow that can help you organize your job. If you're in job search, look into this app, and it's a place where you can have all of your job content, like different resumes you've used to apply to different jobs, all sorts of information, and you can have it all in one place. So check out that app. Another app is called Ori, I think that's how you pronounce it. So it's before you have interviews, or even if you're speaking to someone on the phone, like an informational interview, or when we can meet in person again, if you have a coffee lined up, this is an app that will coach you to add fewer filler words, speak more clearly, and speak at a good pace. I'm definitely going to be looking into this. It just is an awesome app that can help no matter what. And then another great idea, a great tool for job search is to create a spreadsheet. So it can be an Excel spreadsheet, a Google Sheets, and we recommend including the following: the company name in one tab or in one column, contact details from recruiters or hiring manager or people you know at that company. So their name, emails, phone numbers, the date you have applied for positions at that company, deadlines and interview dates you've followed up, and the status of the application. So if you have all the companies you've applied for in one spreadsheet with this information, it will be really helpful to track, where you are making progress. And it's just good information to have in general.
Some other tips is a app called Ikigai, and this is a great app that is a framework for helping you find fulfillment in jobs that you're seeking. And then 3 tips to landing a job. Number 1 is be curious, ask questions, do your research, really know the company that you're wanting to apply to, so that when you do apply, you can have that great summary statement or great answer as to why you would be a benefit to that company, what you could add to that company. Be engaged with the company, with recruiters, with people. Be optimistic. Show your emotional intelligence, meaning you're great at collaborating. You're good at emotional and social awareness. Emotional intelligence grows with age. Let them know that you've had experience. You've got all these great soft skills that they're looking for. And then ask former people that you've worked with, ask your friends, what are the 5 adjectives that people think of when they think of you in the workplace? Are you open-minded, empathetic, decisive? And let's say some of your friends said that you were wishy-washy and you thought you were decisive. Well, that's something that you can work on.
Yeah, that last slide was just, so the 5 adjectives is really, that's just an exercise to do for yourself. But it's good information to know, because people who know you best, they sometimes we think of ourselves one way, and then people who know us really well think of us a different way. So especially if there's things you want to work on, that's what the 5 adjectives is all about. Okay, and then a few closing thoughts. Like we've already said, 85 to 90% of people land their jobs through their network. So use your network. Use a referral. If you know someone at the company, reach out to them. Reach out to them on LinkedIn. Reach out to them personally via text or email, and ask them to submit your resume first. If you just apply if you just apply online, that can sometimes be a black hole. You may never hear back. But if you can, use your network. And that's why LinkedIn is so powerful, because the second you search for a job or apply for a job, you can see all the people that you're connected to, and then you can just instantly message them right there, or instantly find their contact information and send them an email. So really use your network. And this is especially true if you're looking to pivot to a new industry, or you're looking to return to work after a career break. Your network is critical. And then failure is learning. So if you apply for a job and you don't go to the next step, or if you're in interview rounds and you don't get the position, you need really maintain your confidence. do not take this personally. There are so many factors that go into every job decision. You know, you just don't know what the reason was. It's always good to ask for feedback. Like, is there something I could have done better in the interview? Or, you know, why was I passed up? Am I missing a skill? Is there something that I need to add to my resume so that I would be a better candidate? That's all good information. But the main point is failure is learning. So any position you don't get, don't take it personally. Maintain your confidence and keep applying. And then lastly, invest your time. Talk to people in the industry. Reconnect with your old colleagues. These relationships will yield information about job openings before they're posted. And this is really critical right now because some companies are taking hiring soon, ready and available. And so as soon as you know that, it's through your network and your relationships.
And
Megan, can you or Tina just repeat that, because that audio was a little wonky?
yeah, do you want to try Megan again?
Yeah, which part? When did it start getting
Most of
wonky?
your time.
Oh, yeah. Just especially right now, if there are companies that aren't hiring, they stay in touch with your relationships at those companies and let them know that as soon as those job openings start up again and they are looking for candidates, you're ready to go. So even if they're not hiring right now, maintain those relationships.
Yeah, I have to reiterate that this is a great time to be reaching out to people, even if they aren't hiring, because once that job does become open or they are hiring, you might be the first person that they think of because you've already had a conversation with them, that they might reach out and say, this job is here. We've already had a conversation. We'd like to chat more. And another website to check out during this time, it's called Candor. It's CANDOR.com. And it is a running list that somebody is doing of companies that are freezing jobs and that are hiring. So it's constantly evolving and changing. And I would highly recommend checking that out to find out who's hiring right now and possibly who's freezing jobs as well.
Right, and LinkedIn has a link in the corner every morning of companies that are hiring. Obviously, all the jobs that are on our site are companies that are hiring. Our volume is just much lower than these big guys, so it's really important to know them and understand them. One of the things I wanted to say, and this is Stacey, say about the failure is learning. Part of the failure is learning, I think, is also just building the muscle of doing. So the action of applying is really important, because you can't get a job unless you do apply. So just getting out there and getting that muscle going, even if you do get rejected, is important to get going. We also have a great workshop, as you all were talking, that really it's called Returning to Work on Your Own Terms, but it's a great hour of information. We've done it many times on the site, but it's a great hour of information for anybody who's just looking for a job to think about what you want your next job to look like. So sometimes that's a great tool to just take the time, as they're saying here, invest your time, but also invest in thinking about what you're going to apply for and what kind of a job will fulfill you, so that you're not just so scattered as you're doing it, because there are a lot of jobs out there, and it can get overwhelming. Okay, thank you, ladies. Should we get to some questions? And if there's anything that anyone wants repeated, just maybe put it in the chat and we can go back to that slide. We'll share this recording, the Zoom link to the recording afterwards, so you'll be able to go back and take a look at all of their great slides here. Okay, so one of the questions we got is someone who's in career transition after relaunching, looking for a specific job. How does she identify someone with a similar role, just so they can check out their profile on LinkedIn?
Well, I would go, if there's a specific industry that you're looking at, I would research that on LinkedIn, that company, and then try to find, because it will list people, and you can try and find somebody with this same job title of what it is you're wanting to do. And you can read more about what their skills are. That's a place that I would start with. And I would also go on to Glassdoor. I highly recommend when looking for a job, you use all three of the resources. You use Indeed, Glassdoor, and LinkedIn. So you are so knowledgeable of that job before you apply. And I would go on to Glassdoor and LinkedIn and look for that specific job title that you're looking for and see what skills there are for those. I would print out 5 or 10 of those jobs, those job descriptions, and highlight what it is about each one of those jobs that really resonated with you, that you can bring to the table, and add those to your resume so that you're found on, if you put your resume in Indeed and on LinkedIn, people will find you due to those soft skills or hard skills.
That's great. Okay. And then this is a good question. Is it best to apply to a job via LinkedIn versus the company's website if the job is listed on LinkedIn?
I think both ways are, great. Some recruiters have said, I think they go first on LinkedIn, and sometimes on LinkedIn, you don't have to send a cover letter. So it's convenient and it's easy. But the most important thing I would do before applying on LinkedIn or one of these other job sites is, if you have somebody that can personally hand deliver or email your resume to the hiring manager, this is that 85 to 90% of their people land their jobs through their network. So before sending it just into LinkedIn or into Indeed or into Glassdoor, see if you can find a contact first and foremost. I mean, just remember that's 90% of people get their jobs through their network. So I would highly rely on that if you can.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that sometimes for big companies, I think they are filtered to the same place, whether you apply on the company website or on LinkedIn. But if you apply on LinkedIn, you can see who you know at that company, so that you can apply there. And you can reach out to those people that you know.
Yeah, that's great. Someone's asking if you can repeat the info about the Candor app.
Yeah, it's called Candor.com. And it's this running list of companies that are freeze hiring right now, and then companies that are hiring. It's a little lengthy to go through because it's constantly changing, but there is this list that's out there right now due to coronavirus that you can follow who's hiring and who isn't right now. And it's an active, ever evolving, daily changing list that I would highly recommend checking out.
Yeah, I learned about that today, and that sounds great. Okay, are there any other questions? Can you speak a little bit about cover letters? We'll probably do a full workshop on cover letters, to be honest, because it's kind of an animal unto itself, but maybe there's a highlight here that we could offer.
Yeah, I'm gonna video just
yeah, it'll be better.
So depending on the industry, we've heard, like, we know recruiters who work in tech in the Bay Area, and they rarely read cover letters, almost never. But people who work at nonprofits or at universities, they require and do read cover letters. But what we've heard is that so if someone does not read cover letters, and you have, like, let's say a break in your career, or you have something that you want to discuss, then they recommend sending your resume to an email address or a LinkedIn message that includes a few sentences on what value you can add, and what you want to tell them. But just use sentences, really brief.
Short, brief.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would say short and brief, and just like your resume and your cover letter, make sure it's unique to each job that you are applying for. Just don't write one cover letter and use that for all the jobs that you're applying for. Come up with, and this is why you follow companies on LinkedIn, come up with the reasons why you're telling that company that they should be hiring you, and you put that into why you want to work at that company. You put that into your resume and your cover letter as your differentiator.
And what value you bring
Yeah.
versus someone else to the company.
Yeah, small businesses too often will ask for a cover letter, so it's good to know what to have in one. But this is great information about knowing which jobs are really interested in them. Okay, if we don't have any other questions, anyone? This was awesome, you all. Thank you very much. And again, I'll send it takes a minute for the Zoom link to come through, but as soon as it is, someone on our team will send out the link to you all, and you can go back through and see their slides. And we will, do you want to take one more question? There's one more question. With an Indeed profile, should you update resume for each job or only have a primary profile on file?
Your resume should change for each job that you apply to. It's ever evolving. So you have your one resume, but for each job that you apply to, you're probably tweaking a few things for that job so you stand out and you want that company to see the value that you add for that position.
Yeah, it's so time consuming. And then Azita is asking again on the cover letter, where do you submit the suggested few sentences instead of the cover letter? They don't think it was really clear. I mean, I think it really depends on where you're applying, right? If there's a address for an email, you would send it to that email. If you're applying on LinkedIn and there's a recruiter, you would do it there. In some cases, there's actually space to upload a cover letter, through whatever program you're applying through. So I think it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. But their point there is if it doesn't need to be a full cover letter, just make sure it's really brief.
Yeah, and if once you submit your resume, try to find out who, you should know ahead of time who that recruiter is that you're sending your resume into, and then you can follow up on LinkedIn as well. So you could send 2 to 3 sentences quick, 24, 48 hours after you've submitted your resume about why you'd like to continue conversations with that company.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you have any other questions, this is your time to ask them, so please do. Okay, what if you are looking for 2 different industry jobs because you have experience in one industry before your gap and then are working in another? Can you be a little more specific? Do you need 2 different cover letters, or you could use the chat, or I could come to you and you could talk. Do you want to speak, Azita? We can allow you to speak if that's helpful. What do you guys think?
If it's 2 different jobs, then yes, you'll have 2 different resumes, 2 different cover letters, and your LinkedIn profile, that's always evolving and changing. And so if you've sent out a bunch of resumes to the one specific job, maybe your LinkedIn profile is leaning a little bit more towards those skills at that time, and then you're tweaking it again for the other job. But you will have different resumes for different jobs and cover letters.
Yeah.
You want to highlight those skills that are particular to those jobs and what value you bring to the company.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you're casting a wide net, it sounds like you're casting a wide net between 2 industries, then you're going to have a specific, you're only going to have like one LinkedIn profile, right? But you're going to, tailor whatever your messaging is and probably have 2 different resumes to be handing in for whatever industry you're applying for.
And I would just say that if for your LinkedIn profile, make sure that you, even since you only have one LinkedIn profile, make sure that you're showing skills and that are required for both industries. Make sure that is very clear.
Yeah, and then just to follow up, Azita is saying, how do they deal with the, I guess the the double industry from a LinkedIn profile perspective because of what recruiters might be searching for. I think as long as you have the keywords of both in there, you're going to show up in the relevant searches. So in the areas where you talk about being in, it looks like biopharma, you would want to just pack in the keyword searches that you're interested in for that industry from a job perspective. And then you do the same with the education role that you've had, and just pack in the job search keywords into whatever description that you're using. And by pack in, I don't mean like list them all out. I just mean incorporate it into the language that you're using so that you will show up in the searches for both.
Yeah, and I would just use the summary section of your LinkedIn profile to say that you're open to both. You're open to both industries. You have experience and value in both parts of, and could add value in jobs in either industry.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Yeah. Okay. And then Liz is asking if you're open to full-time, part-time, or other consulting. How do you express that without looking like you're not focused?
Well, and Indeed, you can search for jobs that are full-time, part-time, and or consulting. You can just click buttons so that those different jobs will come up, and then you can apply. So then recruiters won't even know that you're open to all of those. And I think in LinkedIn, there are way more full-time positions. So I think in LinkedIn, you just say that you're open to new jobs.
Yeah. Agreed. When you're having a conversation with people, and you say you're open, I don't know. I don't think that sounds, I think if you're open to anything, right? If you're open to both part-time or full-time or freelance, it just shows that you're flexible. It's I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Anything else that?
It looks like there's one more question. Stacey, you're muted.
I know my daughter was there talking at me too. Okay, let's see. Is it better to wait for a full-time opportunity or should you be open to contract work?
I would be open to contract work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's something you can put on your resume right away.
Yeah. And they often will convert if you're interested. I'm waiting to see if it takes some time to type, so I'm waiting to see if anyone's typing.
Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn to Megan and I as well, and if you have any additional questions, and we'd be happy to help you in any way we can.
Yeah, and they have a great full LinkedIn profile review and resume review that you can find on our website. And they ran a great interview skills workshop that we'll run again, hopefully here in May. So we'll get that calendared and then let everyone know when it's available. But these are all great questions and we wish you all a lot of luck with your search and definitely reach out. That's why we're here. You can email us at contact@apregroup.com. And if there's nothing else, I think we will let it go and then we'll follow up with the link for everyone. So Tina and Megan, thanks again so much.
Yeah, sorry for the technical difficulties today.
Well, it was great because you would go slow and then it would go really fast and catch up for everything that you'd said. So the material was there. You just had to be ready for the audio. But anyone who has any questions, feel free to follow up with us and we can be more explicit. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.